Okay. Let me observe all protocols, but not without mentioning our great nationalist and chairman, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, GCON, CFR, the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations, and also the Governor of Lagos State, on whose soil we are doing this. If he doesn't want us to come into Lagos State, he will just say, don't come. And then I also recognize our father, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. He has been in this struggle at almost 97 years old with Chief Wike Clark. He's still in the struggle. So for him, it's a case of Aluta continue, Victoria settle. I thank you, and my All-Needs representative. Send my regards to Your Majesty. When Chief Emeka Anyaoku called me to present today's keynote address in honor of Professor M.I, I did not hesitate, because when Professor M.I died, I wrote a tribute for him, which I easily Google and see all I said about him. I was quite close to him. Unarguably, indisputably, is the greatest constitutional lawyer to have emerged on the soil of Africa, the entire African continent. Make no mistake about that at all. In 2011, when I was being honored with a doctorate degree honoris causa, LLD, by Caritas University in Enugu, and Professor M.I was also being honored. I went to him. I said, sir, how can a Lilliputian like me be honored the same day along a giant like you? That I found it a misnomer. He said, no, my son, I've been reading you, and I think I like what you are doing. You are not a Lilliputian. Continue to grow. Since that 2011, I became very close to Professor M.I. After reading all his books in my university and after university years. And we would argue. He would call me, he would tell Damien, his PA, he may be here now. He said, call him at about 11:30 p.m. He would say, I read what you wrote yesterday in the papers. I don't agree with you. I said, what are your thoughts, sir? He said, don't worry, you will see my thoughts. I will publish them in the papers. Within 24 hours, Professor M.I will publish his own thoughts, which by the time I will read, I will see that to him, I was really sure. How he did it, I will continue to wonder. Just as Professor Sage SN was always wondering with me, how does he do it? So I think that even in his grave now, I think he must be writing. He wouldn't know that he has left this world. He would just be writing for angels. So Professor M.I, continue to write and educate the other world. The Constitution, sir, is the birth certificate of any nation. It is the identity card. Make no mistake about that. So when you talk about a constitution or a country, the first thing you think of is, what is his system of government? How does he run it? Is it parliamentary? Is it presidential? Is it a republican state? Is it unitary? What form of government? How do the people relate? Once you are discussing all these issues, you are thinking of the constitution of the country. And that is why it is very, very important. And let me make this point. The process, the procedure by which a constitution comes into being is not only important, but it's actually more important than the contents of the constitution itself. That was why America, between May 4 and September 1787, decided to gather in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to have what they called a more perfect union. They already had confederates having their own constitutions, but they felt that they needed a stronger government at the center, but federative units strong enough to stand on their own, but not too strong to override the central government. That was how they met. Great American people, Alexander Hamilton, John James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, who became the first president of America, emerging from that conference. These were the great federalists. And they decided to set for themselves a new constitution. Agreed on certain articles of faith: republicanism, presidentialism, and federalism. It was from that constitutional conference they decided to have not just a presidential system of government, but also what you call judicial review of administrative actions. They decided to have a tripartite system of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. A doctrine which earlier in 1748 was ably propounded by Baron de Montesquieu, the great French philosopher. They decided to have a Bill of Rights. And so that constitution was promulgated finally in June 1787, 10 years after they became independent. Guess what? They did not claim to know it all. The 50 delegates that attended, 39 of the delegates signed. They still subjected it to the 13th Confederate States for their approval through a referendum. A referendum is key to any constitution making. That is why the American Constitution, which is just 192 pages, about 27 amendments, 7,591 words, unlike the Nigerian Constitution, which is as large as a portfolio, this stands the test of time, hundreds of years later. So the process by which a constitution comes into effect, therefore, is very, very important. Right now, the Green Chambers has set up a committee to amend the Constitution after the first four amendments. And the Senate has also set up a 43-man committee. My brother and good friend here, Aminu Tambuwa, a man who has conquered not just the legislature, but the executive, we are preventing him from coming to the judiciary. Is there. But with this, their work amounts to what we are looking for. Is it just a case of amendments to the Constitution that is our problem? Can you amend a bad document? Can you amend a fundamentally flawed document? My humble answer is that you cannot. 1 million amendments multiplied by 1 million amendments added to 1 million amendments of the present fundamentally flawed constitution cannot cure it of its original sin, like the original sin committed by Adam and Eve. What is that original sin? It is that it was imposed on you and I militarily by a military junta led by General Abdusalami Abubakar, 28 members of the Provisional Ruling Council. It was never subjected to any referendum of the people. And guess what? The present constitution was attached as a mere schedule. Can you believe that? To decree number 24 of 1999. So the constitution you are using is a mere schedule attached to a decree. So how can you amend it? How do you cleanse it of that leprous pedigree? How? I will tell you. Like Naaman the leper, that dipped himself into River Jordan 7 times to become cleansed of his leprosy. Nigerians must own their own constitution through a popular referendum of the people, like was done to the Midwest Constitution on the 10th of August 1963, when it separated from Western region. Without that, we will just be on a journey to no destination. Make no mistake about that. So all these problems you see, insecurity, mutual distrust, religious intolerance, civilians attacking army therefore retaliating with mightier force, burning down a whole village, a whole city. Everybody is saying Buhari was prebendalistic, colonialistic, sectionalistic, that the present Tinubu is also following same, be prebendalistic, colonialistic, sectionalistic. All these are mere symptoms of a larger ailment, which is that we are operating a system we have not agreed to operate. When Miss Flora Louisa Shaw, on 8th January 1897, was giving Nigeria her name after the area around the Niger area, we were already existing as different nationalities within our domains. The Hausa city-states, the Igbo city-states, the Kanem Borno Empire, the Oyo Empire, the Ife Empire, the Benin Kingdom. And the people had their system of government and governance. So, to couple together such a people without giving them a say, as Lord Lugard did on the 1st of January 1914, when he brought together the northern and southern protectorates to form Nigeria and the Lagos colony. Forget that agreement was to last for 100 years, which therefore expired on the 1st of January 2014. Can we not sit down to renegotiate our nationhood so that we can believe in ourselves? That is the national question. That is why no one believes in Nigeria. Rather, Nigerians believe in their unions. Drive across on a Saturday or Sunday, you will see Igbo Union, Rural Union, Ijo Union, Esako Union, Birom Association, TV, Diaspora Union. The reason is that people believe more in their home state than a country called Nigeria. When you want me to fill a form, and after asking me for my name, and you further ask about my religion, then you ask about where I come from and the language I speak, you are already profiling me. Not as a Nigerian, but as someone who comes from that enclave. And guess what? What you are going to get will be what they see there. So when I hear the Yorubas, some of them are still complaining today that they are being marginalized. I say, the Northerners, Hausa, Fulanis are complaining of marginalization right now. The Igbos, their case is well known, have always been on at the receiving end, being marginalized. Then I asked, what of myself, a minority, being a minority, from a tiny village called Ijukwe near Agenebode in Esako, East Local Government area? What do you want me to say? Because Abiola said the bigger the head, the bigger the headache. So my headache is bigger. So we are therefore going to look at some of the issues now, how we can solve this problem, which we have highlighted, so that we can move forward. Now, Professor M.I gave us a very beautiful treatise as to how we can bring about a people's constitution. In his seminal paper, Legal Authority for the Convening and Holding of a National Conference and for the Making of a People's Constitution, the learned professor said that the present National Assembly is already in place. You are happy because I say you are already, because your fears have always been that in trying to bring about a people's constitution, we are going to sideline the National Assembly. It is not possible. It is a reality. Because the National Assembly itself came into being. Elections were held in 1999, even before the 1999 Constitution came to be. So the elections were held without a constitution. So the emergence of the National Assembly, therefore, was based on the will of the people, what we call salus populi supremalis. The will of the people is supreme. So Professor M.I therefore theorized that because the National Assembly is in place, they have the power to convene and conduct a national conference. And what they should do is that they should look at their powers beyond the power to alter the constitution in sections 8 and 9 and go to section 315, which makes the present constitution as an existing law being a document attached as a schedule to Decree number 24. And that the National Assembly should yank off the constitution from that schedule under using section 1, subsection 1. And then simultaneously replace it with a brand new constitution, doing away with the schedule, with the military dictatorship aura. He has example of the British Order in Council, which under section 2 had made the 1963 Republican, 1960 independent constitution a schedule. But under the 1963 Republican Constitution, the British government used the British Order in Council, yanked it off and replaced it, and we therefore had the 1963 Republican Constitution. One of the best, arguably the best constitutions we have ever had in this country. Better than the 2022 Clifford Constitution, the 1922 Clifford Constitution, 1946 Athelicius Constitution, 1951 Macpherson Constitution, 1954 Little Constitution. That 1963 Constitution, to me, if you look at it, we brought about fiscal federalism for each state to grow, each region to grow according to its might. Western region, Eastern region, Northern region is where we have to think of going back to. That was why the late sage Obafemi Awolowo, who controlled the mono product of Western region, cocoa product, could impact heavily on his people, giving them free education at all levels. University of Ife, I'm an alumni of that university. You know there are two universities in Nigeria, sir. University of Ife and others. It's the brainchild of Awolowo. The Cocoa House in Ibadan, still the tallest building in Ibadan till today. Liberty Stadium. The first television station in Africa, Western Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation, because he had access to his funds. There was no federal government. He was just paying 20% royalty to the federal government at the center. Then 30% was shared by all the regions, and then 50% for their region. The Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, was able to use the hide and skin, cotton, products of Northern region to build the Northern Nigeria Development Corporation, NNDC, the Amdala Hotel, the Yankari Game Reserve, the Arewa group of companies. They are still there till today. You all see them. Dr. Akanu Ibia, Dr. Michael Opara, using the monoproduct of palm oil in the East, was able to develop Eastern region. The monuments are there, presidential hotels, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Transamadi Estate, the cattle ranch of the stadium, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, because he had access to his funds. Port of Midwest region, which was created through the help of people like Dr. Dennis Osadebe, Oba Akezwa II, Kesiti Momo, Chief Anthony Nahoro, Jereti Marino Kitiego, Umimieja. They used their timber and plywood and rubber to develop all they wanted. The Bailey Glass Factory, the Opela Cement Factory, the University of Benin. So what has changed? That people who produce a product You are saying they should be grateful for being given 30% of the product. Everybody goes to Abuja to go and share the national cake every month using commissioners for finance. But no one cares about how that national cake is baked. Is that how we are going to survive as a country? No. Using 80 to 85% for recurrent expenditure, no capital expenditure. Is that how we are going to grow? No. So Professor Mwabweze got it. But my only quarrel with Professor Mwabweze, and I had told him when we discussed this matter, that yanking off the Constitution from the schedule using Section 1.1 has not cured it of the illegitimacy we are talking about, nor made it or touched on us. Without a referendum, you say, young man, I think I see what you are saying. That is one procedure to go forward to have a new constitution. National Assembly replace the new constitution, yank it off under Section 1.1 of that decree, replace it with the new constitution, and we move on. But my own argument is that it has not made it the people's constitution. Then we look at another example of national conferences where matters like this were hotly debated, particularly in the circumstant states, where they debated all this to manage conflicts and foster political, social, and economic well-being and welfare. 1990, President Matthew Kareko, Republic of Benin. Congo Brazzaville, 1991 National Conference. Denis Sassou Nguesso. Mali, President Ibrahim Traoré, 1991. Togo, 1990, President Nasibi Eyadema. Democratic Republic of Congo, of President Mobutu Sese Seko, 1991 to 1992. Then let us now look at procedure through the National Assembly. My take on this is that the National Assembly has a big role to play in bringing about a people's constitution. What are the ingredients they will use to cook this people's soup? Vulnerable groups and gender must be given equality in our national affairs, particularly women. I am here advocating that the National Assembly is too unwieldy. 109 senators, 360 members of the House of Representatives. They drain the scarce resources of the country. When Ningi speaks, his original offense or sin like Adam and Eve is, why did you say it? What is this? At the present constitution, they actually sit part-time. If you sit for 6 months in a year, you have already passed. So either you abolish one of the twin bicameral legislature, either you abolish the green chamber or the red chamber, or allow them to sit on part-time basis, so that when you sit, they sit on that day. When you don't get it, you will see people who transmute easily from governors to senators. Some of them will decide to better go into farming, which is more profitable. How much am I going to be receiving for honorarium by sitting? I'm running on. Thank you. So we should have it that way. There should be power rotation, constitutionalized between the North and the South. We should create special constitutional and anti-corruption courts in so as to revamp our decaying electoral process. We must enable funding of National Assembly members, those that will remain, by constituent states, not from the central government, which will now have fewer things to do. And what will they be doing? Finance, taxation, external affairs, internal defense, military operations. Very few. What the government about marriage? What you call you go to the marriage registry to go and wed, and it's under the Marriage Act. So the federal government is guiding your relationship with your wife. What is their business? What's the federal government's business with what they call unitary schools from these secondary schools, which should even be the business of local government areas? So I think we are missing it entirely. Finally, sir, as I end this, we have to know that the will of the people is supreme. Even Section 14 of the present Constitution says that government derives its power and authority from the people. The tail cannot wag the dog. It is the dog that wags the tail. So we must respect the human rights of the people, their dignity. Our governments must provide for the people. The welfare and security of the people is the primary function of government, Section 14. A government that cannot secure its citizens or give them food is not a government. Above all, in doing this constitution, remember the Nigerian people. Subject whatever this National Referendum Commission, NRC, collates together to a referendum of the Nigerian people. And then we can have a brand new constitution and a new beginning. God bless you all.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.